Hello and welcome. We are live. So, welcome everyone. Hello, welcome Genius Soft. Welcome Afiz. Welcome that weird guy. Okay, so we are live and ready to start. So if you have any question, as always, you can go drop them because we are going to be having a general. Yeah, welcome Bumi. So we're going to be having a general question and answer section based on what we've done so far. So it's very important because we've basically uh, welcome Mr. Geniusoft. We've basically done 1 month, and I'm quite sure the 1 month you've learned quite a lot of things, especially when it comes to using Figma. Okay, volume is low. Okay, let me see if I can increase that. Let me go to. Okay, I think my. I think okay. I've tried increasing that output, input, volume. I think. Can you hear me better now? Yeah, let me know if you can hear me better now because I think the audio has improved. Okay, let me also go ahead and increase this. Can you guys hear me better now? Okay, if you can hear me better now, if the audio is better now, just indicate in the comment section so that I'm sure we are on the same. Okay, great. Welcome, Vixen. Welcome, Justice. Okay, can you hear me clearer now? Let me know if you can hear me clearer now because I've increased it. Okay, okay, audio is good now. Okay, okay. Shinayo John, can you hear me now? Welcome, Toby. Welcome. Okay, okay, great. Okay, okay, amazing. Okay. So as usual, we are going to start with some of the questions that have been posted on Google Classroom. And once we answer some of those questions, we'll proceed to take a look at today's revision. Then I will be showing you guys what's next. Okay, I'll be showing you guys what next. So in these classes, if you're attending this live session, it's important if you have a book and a pen, it's important to jot down any question that might come up so that you can ask it in the second half of the question and answer. Remember, we have the first half where we answer some questions, then we take some classes, and then we wrap it up with another question and answer session. So if you don't get to ask your question now, okay, you can write it down, and in the next question and session section, you can actually ask those questions. So it's important you ask questions when you don't understand, so you can get clarity right away. Okay. Without further ado, let me go directly to the first question from Google Classroom. The first question is, what's the real function of clip content? I think this was posted by Shinayomi John. Okay, what's the real function of clip content? Because I noticed blah, 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 blah. Okay, basically, I'll answer that question shortly. What's the real function of clip content? Okay, I'll answer that question. And also, I don't understand the prototyping concept. Okay, I will also answer that right away. Shinayomi John, I hope you're here and listening because I'm about to answer your question. And to answer your question, I'm going to go directly to Figma. So here we are on Figma. So let me go ahead and answer your question right away. Okay. What do we have here? So if you are creating a design, okay, if you are creating a design, you want to use clip content. If you want the content on that frame to remain inside the frame, okay, So let me do this. Let me get a frame, and this frame, I'm going to just draw a frame, and let's call this clip contents explanation. Now, like I told you all during the beginning of this particular class, that whenever you have a frame, Figma maintains like a parent-child relationship between frames and the content inside the frame. Okay, so let's assume that I go ahead and draw a rectangle inside this frame. Okay, let me draw a rectangle inside this frame. Let's give it a red color so that it's very obvious. Okay, so now we have this rectangle inside this frame, and if you take a look at the frame here, the panel here, the layer panel here, you can see I have this frame, the clip content explanation, then I have the rectangle inside. Okay, it's a parent-child relationship. Now, if I should go ahead and move this here, you can see I can't see this other part of this rectangle. You can see it's hidden basically, and that is because right now clip content is active. If I deactivate clip content, you can see I can actually see this other part of the rectangle even though it's inside the frame. Okay, I can actually see this other part of the rectangle. So what clip content basically does is, just like the name implies, it clips the content inside that frame. So you can use it to achieve different effects. When you want something to be right inside the frame, despite the fact that other parts are outside, you want to activate clip content. So when you activate clip content, like I just did now, you can see it will hide this other part of the shape. So let's assume you can use these things to create different effects for prototyping and also different effects for design. Now let me go ahead and increase this rectangle. Now you can see what I've achieved right now, okay, by just using clip content, because I've drawn a very big triangle. You can see the size of the triangle, but because I'm using clip content, I've been able to hide one part of that shape. Okay, and no, it's not lock content, so you have to be careful with your vocabulary. It's not lock content. It clips the content inside that frame. The frame holds the content so that it doesn't show this outer part. You can see the outer part of this particular shape, this particular rectangle. You can see with when I activate clip content, it hides those other parts. So if someone should come in here now, they will probably think we drew like a right angle triangle to achieve this, but it's a rectangle. Then we rotate it, and then using clip content we were able to achieve this because we were able to hide out the part. It's more like it's just like masking out the part that is outside the frame. So when you're using clip content, anything outside the frame won't show until you move it inside. Okay, so that's just the basic explanation. When you are using clip content, anything outside the frame won't show. Okay, anything outside the frame, it won't show. So let me change this to 0 again. Now let me get another circle to explain this. Okay, if you draw something else, let me draw an ellipse. Okay, let me give it another color entirely. So you can see this ellipse, right? So you can see it's showing. Now if I should increase this ellipse, now you can see because I activated clip content, you can see the effect I'm having. It's hiding these other parts. It's not showing these other parts. Okay, but once you deactivate clip content, if I should select this and then deactivate clip content, I'm actually going to see those other parts. Yeah, so it's very Excel, I hope you can hear me now. So it's very important when working, it's very important you activate clip content, except in some cases where you actually want elements outside the frame to show, like an overflow. This can be useful when dealing with frames inside a frame. Okay, frame inside a frame. Let me show you when clip content is important, when to deactivate clip content. Let's assume that I create like a circle here. Okay, now this circle, let me go ahead and give it a color. You can see, let's come back to our color blue. Now let me go ahead and add a shadow to this particular guy. So effect, I'm going to add a very big shadow so that we can really understand this. So this y axis, I'm going to use 64. Okay, for my x axis, I'm going to use 64, and then for my blur, I'm going to just do that 64 times 2. Remember, you can actually do multiplications inside this box. You can just type like 64 times 2, enter, and it gives me that. Now let me go ahead and increase my opacity to like 80 so you guys can actually see what's going on. Now watch what happens here. If I add this circle into a frame by right clicking and say frame selection, okay, frame selection. Now you can see we have this frame here, circle container. Let me name it circle container. Now if I have this frame here, if I activate clip content, most of this shadow will go away. Okay, so you can see, because I've activated clip content, is trying to, you know, cut out the part of that shadow that is basically outside that frame. Okay, so what I need to do is, in this case, I wouldn't want to use the clip content for that particular frame because I actually want the shadow to show, right? So I'll go ahead and deactivate it. Now you can see this shadow is showing fully, but it's actually outside the size of the main frame. So this is where instances whereby you want to make sure you deactivate clip content. So if you don't want the content the content of that frame to show, like the ones outside of the frame to show, you want to make sure you activate clip content. But if you want those contents outside of the frame to show, then you have to deactivate clip content. So basically it's just English, clip, to clip something inside an element or an object. Okay, I guess you should have a better understanding of clip content and also when to use them. So when you want the outer element to show, make sure you deactivate clip content. But when you want the outer element not to show, that's the element outside the bounding box of the frame, if you don't want it to show, then you want to go ahead and select clip content. Okay, and with auto frame, we've been using clip content so that even if we have an overflow, it doesn't just show. Okay, so it doesn't show when we have an overflow. Odunayo, do you mean the content inside frame? Yes, the content inside the frame. So clip content basically work with contents and frames. If you don't have a frame, you won't have option for clip content. It's only in relation to contents that are inside a frame. Okay, so if you are someone here and you use Corel Draw, clip content is the equivalent of power clip. Okay, clip content is the equivalent of power clip. And if you use Illustrator, clip content is the equivalent of masking. Yes, but this is in relation to frames and their child elements. When you are working with shapes, then you want to talk of masking basically. We'll cover masking in a later class. Okay, so yeah, so remember, if you have any question, you can go to that Google Classroom and drop it, or I think my colleague is also around here, so if you drop it in the comment section, he should also be able to pick it out and we can take a look at it together. Okay, question 2, I don't understand prototyping concept because you didn't watch the video, because the video was blurry and not available on YouTube. That's unfortunate. We'll take a look at that to see why most people are complaining about not seeing that particular video. But basically, prototyping is just to show the flow. Okay, it's just to show the users the flow. Now if I go back to our app design, let me just go to, let me go to our app design. If we go back to our app design, you can see that, let me just go to that prototyping. Let me go to that prototyping page. if I go back to our app design, okay, you can see that we designed this thing based on what you call flows. Flows are, how users complete a specific task, right? Because when you build an app, it's supposed to solve a particular problem, and solving that particular problem will lead to what you call features. You have to develop features, right? And each features is going to have what you call a task flow. Each feature is helping a user complete a particular task. Okay, so when you are designing, you want to arrange your design in a way that makes logical sense, right? The flow should make sense. So you are arranging your designs based on the flow. That is one of the best way to arrange your designs, based on the flow. And if you take a look at here, what we have the splash screen, which is basically, like I said, we didn't do an onboarding screen for this particular design. Okay, reason being that we are using this particular design to basically learn how Figma works. Okay, by the time we are done with UX, we will start working on designs that are going to live on our portfolio. Okay, that's where we'll do something really great, amazing. Okay, now if you take a look at how and also when we get to that part, it will be more familiar because you've done something like this before, so it will be more familiar, right? Yeah. Yes, Geniusoft. Yes, it's clip content is just like Power Clip in CorelDRAW and clip and masking in Illustrator or Photoshop. Okay, so when you come to the way we've arranged it, we arranged it in different flows. So we have the splash screen, which is basically the first screen the user is going to see. They can log in or whatever. Then we went ahead, we designed the sign up flow. So for our sign up, we really didn't do much. Usually when you are designing a sign up flow, you are probably going to have something like an OTP and other things, in between, in case for verification and validation. But we just did simple fill the form, sign up, and you are in. Okay, but in real life it doesn't work like that. You have to put some form of authentication. Okay, so we have the sign up flow. Okay, then we have the sign in flow. Then we have the password reset flow. So let's assume I want to prototype this password recovery flow. I'm basically supposed to come in here. The first screen the person is going to see when they click on forgot password is obviously this screen that's going to ask them to enter their email address. Okay, then I'm going to pick my prototyping tool and I'm going to, let me go to prototype now. Okay, so let's assume I want to prototype this password recovery flow. All I need to do is, once I come in here, and I can now say, okay, from here, because this is basically an error state that we are trying to show, immediately they type in their password reset link. When they click on send password reset link, what happens? So this will now take you to the next flow. So you want to drag it from that particular screen to the next screen. Right now, we didn't design that particular screen because that particular screen is going to have a text field that is going to ask them to enter a new password, then re-enter that password and click on update password. Okay, and in real life, how this thing works is, once you click on send password reset link, is going to send the link, the password reset link, to the user's email. I'm sure some of us here have actually done some password resetting before, right? So it's going to send you a link to your mail, and as a UX designer, you should know all these steps in between, right? Because it will help you create a better user journey, okay, user journey map when designing, right? So it's going to send a link to the person's email, and once the person's received the email, they click on that link and it brings them to a screen. Now on the new screen, it's going to require them to enter their new password and then retype it, then click on update. Now once they click on update, what happens next? Does it take them back to the dashboard, or does it take them to a particular page to say, oh, password reset successful? So it all depends on what you want to do at that particular point. Okay, so basically prototyping is now dragging these screens, moving from one screen to another, right? That's basically what prototyping is, and I showed you guys the basic interaction. And like I said, when creating your prototype, it's always good to create them in flows. If you notice, we're not just dragging things from beginning to end. Instead, we created what you call flow starting points. Okay, we did flow starting points, and on each of them you could actually see the flow starting point for each of them. Okay, so that's basically what we did. Like right here now, we have the first one that we did, which was the add money flow. The add money flow, basically we prototyped how a user can actually add money to the app by having this screen. So the first screen, basically when you click on add spending money, it brings you to this screen. Right, on this screen you enter the amount. Once you enter the amount, you know, we said once you click on it and enter the amount, it shows the amount here. So what we are trying to do, since Figma does not give us this feature to simulate user typing, although with variables you can do something like that now, but the normal Figma by default without variables does not give you the access to simulate users typing or users engaging. So you have to, like, you know, create it, make a false creation there, so that it just looks like the user is typing. So what we're basically doing was to simulate that, oh, this particular state, the amount here was empty, and then on this state the amount has now been typed in by the user. So we now decided to say, okay, oh, immediately we click on this particular one, it should move to this page that has the 5,000, because if we send this out for people to try using the app to give us feedback, once they tap here, they will now see that, oh, they've actually entered amount 5,000, right? Then they click continue. When you click continue, you are to enter in your card details, and then when they tap here, when they just tap, they will find out that, oh, card details has been filled. Then they click on complete top up, and then they come in here where it loads, and immediately it loads, it takes them to the dashboard to say, okay, the balance is now 5,000, and they can actually see manage card. So anytime you are prototyping or designing, make sure you design flow by flow, right? So don't just design, okay? So don't just design for designing's sake. Design them flow by flow, okay, based on the feature of the app. So the same thing here, we did this utility payment flow, and we did this buy airtime flow. Now, like I said, you can do some advanced prototyping for this particular one. Some people they use an app called Protopie. Some people use After Effects. Some people use other animation tools to create simulate prototypes. But the reality is, in real life, prototypes are actually programmed. You know, you get a developer to just do a quick prototype, because you actually remember we talked about different types of prototypes, and the most important, the most valued prototypes are those ones that are almost, you know, looking like what you actually, the product itself. That way, with that particular prototype, you can actually text functionalities and, you know, get real user feedback instead of using Figma file for user feedbacks. Okay, so okay, that's for the prototyping. So I will probably check that video and see why most of you aren't seeing it. So it's very important you know how to move from screen to screen. The only thing we talked about again are those different types of interactions. Okay, interactions you have on tap, on drag, while hovering. I think we explained all this thing in the prototype video. And then we also have this dissolve, instant, smart animate, moving, pushing. So these ones are basically transitions. How do you want the frame to move, right? How do you want that frame to move? How do you want the movement from one frame to another to be? So this is basically transition. Do you want it instant, or do you want it dissolved, or do you want to use smart animate, which basically interpolates between two elements, okay? And then it notices the changes and then play out all the interaction and changes between those two elements from one state to another. Or do you just want a simple moving transition, move out, push, slide in, slide out? So these are just transitions right here, okay? And here you can control the smoothness of the transition. You can use linear, easy in, easy out, and what have you. Then right here you have the seconds, the duration of that transition. You have 300, which is by default what Figma uses, but you can decrease or increase these particular guys. Now someone was asking a question, what exactly is this reset scroll position and also reset component state? Now it's very important. If you want all your components that have animations or that have smart animations to reset anytime someone is about to anytime you relaunch the prototype to test it out, it's very important you would click on this reset component state. For instance, you notice that this particular page now, okay, on this particular page, what we normally do is, this is a component that has two states. It has this first state whereby we have this loader sending in progress and please wait. That's the first state. And then we have the second state where this thing, let me just go ahead and preview it so you guys can actually see what I'm talking about. So let's do preview instead of present. Let me select this particular screen. And I'm just waiting for it to come up so I can show you, because this is a component that has two states. Now this is the first state. The first state is where this thing loads, and the second state is where it shows successful, done. Okay, now these are two things. Remember, we created this variant. Okay, now the first state where it shows sending in progress, and the second state, which is the second variant, where it shows successful, done. Now what happens is, if you ask someone to play this prototype, okay, immediately they've experienced this the first time, if they relaunch this prototype, this animation will not repeat itself. If they come to this screen, instead of seeing this loading and sending in progress before done, they will just see successful. But if you don't want this to be the case, if you want a situation whereby anytime they come to this screen, it should always load before saying successful, done, then you want to make sure you activate that option that says reset component state. Okay, you want to make sure you always use that reset component state, right? This is it here, reset component state. Now if you have designed an app whereby you are able to you scroll, maybe the height is longer and you scroll, resetting scroll position will always ensure that whenever you restart the prototype, you always start from the top, right, and not from the scroll position you left earlier. But there are times whereby you want to maintain your scroll position, then you deactivate it. So yeah, so that's a very important thing. You should know that as well. Okay, we're almost approaching the end of this particular question and answer session. Please, if you have any question, I would really want you to drop them. In real life, I thought the type keyboard comes from phone. Is our keyboard necessary in design? Like, do we have to design our keyboard? Yes. So you have what you call stock designs. If you want, there are some apps that decide to just use the normal iPhone keyboard or the normal Android keyboard. Okay, but then there are some apps whereby you just want to customize the keyboard. Okay, you want to customize the keyboard. So to customize the keyboard, you have to design it, just like the one we did. We customized our keyboard, okay, to look maybe a little bit better. So basically, but it's not a big deal. You can always use the default keyboard. In fact, a lot of apps use the default keyboard, but there are also some apps that make use of a customized keyboard, especially on OTP screens. On OTP screens, a lot of apps would just try to design it to match, because if you want to use the normal Android keyboard or Apple keyboard for OTP screens, they are going to have letters under them. So when you have one, you are probably going to have ABC under it. Now in UX design, that can actually, in as much as it gives the user extra load to worry about when they are seeing a number with alphabet on top. Okay, although that will work, but if you have a keyboard where you just have numbers, it makes it clearer to them that okay, what they are looking for on this particular screen is numbers. So since they don't need alphabet, there's no need to show them any form of alphabet. So you can just create a design, a keyboard that just have numbers. Okay, so yeah, so that's how you work in real life. Okay, let me take the next question. and this question is by Ngozi Emmanuel. Question 1. Notice you always do Ctrl D to duplicate an element other than Alt drag method. I want to know, does the latter comes with any implications? No, it doesn't come with any implication, but I work a lot with my keyboard, so that's why most of the time I just prefer using Ctrl D instead of dragging. And I've been using my mouse quite a lot for you guys, because I understand that you people are just, we have a lot of people that are just starting. So if I'm using a lot of shortcuts, you people might not know what I'm doing. Okay, so that's why the Ctrl D, I'm just very used to it. But if you notice, for other ones we've been doing so far, I hardly use shortcuts. Either I tell you to move to a particular place and click, or I tell you to right click and achieve that same result. So whether you're using Alt drag or Ctrl D, it's the same thing. Right, it's the same thing. The only difference is, most of the time when you do Ctrl D, it's going to duplicate it in place, especially for the first time. So it's going to duplicate it on top of whatever element you are working on, except you change that that interaction. Okay, so question 2. Can't we have an alternate interaction media account? Yes, I think my colleague is the one handling the WhatsApp channel most times. Okay, okay, we are trying to see how to synergize the communication, and so far Telegram seems to be the less invasive, because we notice that most people on WhatsApp don't always like the notifications on WhatsApp, right? But with Telegram you can always it's less invasive. But we'll look at also communicating on WhatsApp more often. Okay, yeah, so that's it. Okay, I hope I attended to that. The next person here the next question is from Tutu Adeleke. Good day, sir. Thank you for the blah 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 blah. Okay, here is a quick question. I hear other designers talk about UI kits. I would like to hear your informed view on its usage and importance. Okay, great. So UI kits are very, very important when it comes to design. Okay, but when you are trying to learn how to use Figma, you're basically trying to learn how to also be able to create your own UI kits. Like I told us from the beginning of this class, for entry-level designers, you might not be doing a lot of creating of maybe forms and things like that, because any company you are going to work with, obviously we have your design system or their own UI kit, and you are expected to design based from that UI kit. Okay, but what you don't want to do as a beginner is to start learning with UI kits. UI kits are basically for professionals. That's my own opinion and take on that. If you know how to create buttons, you can now if you know how to create buttons, you can go ahead, just to make your work faster, you can go ahead and use UI kits. But if you are just starting to learn and you went and carry UI kits, by the time breeze blow, foul will show. Imagine you now go for an interview and they don't have UI kits during the interview. They now say, Ogbeni, design a button. You now tell them, during the day I don't hear well. So this button you're asking me to design now, I'm really not in the mood. Meanwhile, the real cocoa is that you've been designing with UI kits and you obviously don't know how to design a button. Because with UI kits, it's basically drag and drop. Just like there's little UI kits we've built, right? Using this atomic principle, you see we've built buttons, we've built some components, and all this while, we've basically been doing drag and drop, copy and paste. Now, imagine you've been building all these things and you are using a UI kit, right? And you don't actually know how to create this thing from scratch. It is going to affect you in the long run. Okay, so you don't want to do that. So at this stage, please run. Don't listen to anybody say Murife, don't run. At this stage, run from any UI kits. Okay, now once you've understand how to use, now that you've understood how to use Figma to some extent, okay, then you do your UX design, and then we do that advanced UI design. You will have a solid knowledge of how to create this thing and how some of these things work. At that point, you can now go ahead to say, okay, I'm going to be using a UI kit. For instance, those of us that subscribes to guided assistance, one of the resources we are going to give you is a professional UI kit that will allow you to create your designs faster. Instead of creating buttons all the time, anytime you want to start a design, you want to start creating buttons. Instead of that, the UI kit we are going to give you, you can usually just create buttons, and in less time you have your design going on. Okay, so yes, UI kits are very, very important. As a designer, you will definitely get to use a UI kit. Okay, but as you are starting to learn, the best way to do things is to learn by doing. Okay, so that in case you happen to be somewhere where there is no UI kit, you will not quit. Oh my god, this is Rema. Now let me repeat that. So the essence of learning this is so that if you find yourself in a situation where there is no UI kit, you will not quit. Okay, because if you've been learning with UI kits and you went to a situation whereby there is no UI kit, you will likely quit. I like the rhyme, the UI kit and the quit. Okay, so yeah, so UI kits will definitely work with UI kits. Okay, and yeah, question 2. In mobile apps, are we always designing the status bar from no. Anything you are doing, leave status bar alone. Status bar comes default with the phone. So what you basically do is to leave that space. Okay. So what you basically do is to leave that particular space, the height. Remember that first height we left? You have to leave it. Okay. So most times what you want to do is to go back to, so when we'll definitely talk about UI kits, like we've been referencing a lot of material design. Okay, we'll also take a look at Apple human interface design kits, right? So what you mostly want to do, if you are designing for iPhone, you just want to quickly go to Apple UI kits and pick that status bar, drop it on your own shikina. If you are designing an Android phone, an Android app, you go to material design, pick it and paste. The same thing with the keyboards. Okay, so those main phone components, you don't want to start redesigning them, except you just want to show yourself that you've learned some certain things, so you can just design. But no, don't do that. Just leverage. Okay, yeah. So like I said, UI kits will definitely use UI kits. Okay, so yeah, you don't design from scratch things like status bar. You just copy and paste on each screen. Okay, yeah, because every status bar, they are always there. They are part of the phone, so they are always there all the time. So you need to paste them, right? Status bar, and on iPhone, status bar and the back button, you always need them at the bottom. Okay, so also when we get to advanced UI design, we'll get to understand some certain things. Which frame do you normally use to start? Which frame is it recommended to use to design? Okay, we also look at constraint in a more professional way. We talked about constraint last time, but we talked about constraint just on Figma basis. Okay, but we'll take a look at constraint in real design. So just make sure you don't give up. The most important thing is for you not to give up, and that's why we are making it very interesting, so that you don't give up. Okay, we actually want to see you guys successful. Okay, and get jobs after this training. It's important. Okay, good. I hope I answered that question, Tutu Adeleke. I hope you're actually here. The next question is from Rachel. So she said, sir, how do you know when to put off and put on the user input in the video that we're creating? Profile page. Okay, when we're creating that user input, we said we wanted it to have like 2 states. We want to have states when someone have not clicked on it, and then a state when someone have clicked on it. So usually when you go to forms, you find out that the label, okay, there's something called placeholder. The placeholder text is basically going to give you context. For instance, if the label is email, the placeholder might say something like enter your email. And if you take a look at most conventions, those placeholder text, they are usually kind of grayed out. They are not, in your eyes. They are kind of grayed out, okay, so that they don't look like the real value, right? Now, once you now click to start typing your email, your own value won't be grayed out. It will now be solid, maybe color black or any other color, right? So that's what we were trying to also simulate. So we created two types of text, and one was the gray version and one was the dark blue version. So we said when the user have not input anything, it should be input off. That means we should tell it to be using the gray version, right, for the placeholder. But once the user have entered the value, it should be input on, so that it will switch the color from gray to deep blue. Okay, yes. What about batteries, network, Bluetooth, etc.? Do we need to design them? No, you are not designing them. Once you carry that status bar from Apple or Material Design Kits, they come with it. You are not designing them. The only thing you want to design is if your app usually sends notification that appears on the status bar. Then when you copy those status bar and paste on your design, you can now design whatever it is, how your notification is going to look like, and then put it somewhere to illustrate how it's going to look like. So that's what you are doing, okay? So yeah, that's it, Genisoft. Okay, there was no other question from Google Classroom, okay? And I'm just going to use 2 minutes to see if you guys have any questions so I can answer them. If there are no questions, I will proceed to the revision we have for today and also give us a sneak peek into what next. And we take another round of section and call it a day. So 2 minutes. If you have any questions, please post them now. And if you don't mind, you can like the live. You people have not been liking the videos and commenting on the videos. So it's important you also like the videos and also comment on the videos, just to, show that, okay, you are actually, because we also use it as feedback mechanisms to know people that are interacting with the videos well, okay? So if it's very important, once you've watched the video, you can drop a comment, you can also like, okay? Very, very important. Any question? Okay, so let's proceed. So let's come back here, and I want to show you guys some things. Okay, this is a very great question by Odunayo. Why did you add auto layout to our section frames when creating the landing page? Okay. Another question by Ngozi. If I do new user input, do I have to change it in all the frame because my current user input is having small score? I probably just feel like you should rewatch the video and create the designs, okay? Just follow the video. Right now, you are just learning how Figma works, okay? Don't worry. All these things are not difficult. Now, why did you add auto layout? Okay, great. So let me go to our website. Now, like I told you guys, this curriculum is extremely up to date, not just with 2023, but with the reality on ground and on how most design platform works now. So right now, if you are designing landing pages, chances are the companies are going to do their landing page. They are going to build their landing page using what you call no-code tools. No-code tools like WordPress, like Wix, okay, like Bubble.io. You also have Webflow right there. So these no-code tools, especially for Webflow, okay, they work better. They have Figma plugins that can actually translate your design directly to those no-code platforms, and a lot of them works better with auto frames. because of what? Responsiveness. Okay, responsiveness. Now, because we use auto frame for our design, if I want to convert this to the mobile version, it won't even take me up to 10 minutes. In fact, I'm going to convert this to the mobile version so you can see how to do that using auto frame. But if I didn't use auto frame, I'm going to find it harder, or I'm going to spend more time trying to convert or trying to make this design to adapt to a mobile frame. Okay, now another reason why you want to use auto frame, you can see all this section. Let's assume we wanted this blazing fast to be the first section. Okay, since we used auto frame, I can just click on it, use my up arrow to move up or to move down. Easy. Okay, if I move up and I want to swap this section, now I just select this one and then go to that auto frame and then select this text and change it. Easy. Who no like better thing? Okay, but if you didn't use auto frame, it's just going to be difficult. You have to redo these things one after the other. So that's why we use the auto frame. Okay, so if you have questions on auto frame, I would advise you to just do a little research, but you can also drop your questions in the Telegram channel so someone can help out. But also, when we get to advanced design, you will see how to use auto frame properly again. But now here is the thing, because we use auto frame for this our design, let's assume I want to create the mobile version of this design. Let me go ahead and say, okay, which mobile version do you want to use? Let's say iPhone 14. Toby, you might need to go and watch the beginning of that user input. Okay, so let's say we want to use iPhone 14 Pro. That is 393. That is the width of iPhone 14 Pro, 393, right? So what I need to do here, I'll just duplicate this design, Ctrl D, and then I'm going to call this landing page. Now everyone pay attention, landing page mobile. Okay, now because I used auto frame, you see how easy it will be for me to go from this to the mobile version. So the mobile version we just checked is what? 393. So I'm going to select this page and I'm going to change the width to 393. 393. Okay, 393. Enter. Now clip content is not active. That's why you guys are still seeing it. So let me go ahead and activate clip content. So now you can see what we have so far. Okay, and if I had even activated auto flow, right, that is this particular icon here, this particular icon that says wrap. If I had activated it on each of those auto layers, you would see the way they would just align themselves like good people. But since we didn't activate it, let me just show you how to quickly work on this. So if I select this now, all I need to do is to start changing my margin. Also, because we use 80 for the left and right margin, on mobile, you probably want to use 32 or 24, right? So let's go ahead and say we want to use 32. Let's go ahead and say we want to use 32. I'll select this first section. Instead of 80, I just come in here and say 32. Now immediately I say 32, it adjusts. Now I'll change the flow direction. Okay, so this flow direction, instead of going horizontal, I'll just do vertical and break it down. Now you can see what we're having here. Okay, all I need now is to go and set this. Instead of fixed, I'll just say fill container. Bagam. It does set. I'm done with that group. All I need to do is to go inside here now and set, instead of hog, fill container. Okay, select this text. Instead of hog, fill container. Select everything that says fixed and make it fill container. You can see how everything is balancing now without too much wahala. Fill container. Now I come to this my image. For this my image, I just want to go and center it right there. Then I can select that image, hit K, right? Once I hit K, I will go down to scale this to 0.5 or let's say 0.75. Shikina, that section is done. What I can now do is I can now come in here for my header, right? For my header, instead of the 60, I can now go with the one, which is 36. Background. I'm done with that first section. Then I scroll down. I pick the next one. Repeat basically the same thing. Instead of fixed, view container. Then change the layout. Background. Now select this image. Okay, hit K and reduce this to 0.5. You don't settle. The next thing, I want to select these ones and change them to view container. Background. Now select the main one. Change your padding from 80 to 32. Life is easy. I'm almost done with the mobile. Now, because it's mobile version, I don't want the user to see these pictures 2 times. You know, you see picture here, you see picture here. What if we want to see picture? The next thing, want this get more info to come up first. I just select that one, use my arrow key, move it up. Bang. We're almost done. No? I select this one now. Remember, I'm setting everything to view container. Then I'm changing the direction to vertical layout. Then I'm selecting everything inside it now to set to view container. And remember, we are setting our padding to 32 or 24, depending on what you want to use. Select this image now, hit K, reduce it to 0.75. Right? Let me select that to, okay, 0.5. We're almost done. I select this one again, repeat the same thing, okay? 32. Then I want to set this to view container, and I want to change the direction. Then I want to select the image, hit K, scale it to 0.75. Sorry, 0.5. And you can see this scale 2 is making sure we have uniform results. View container, background, that one is done. And then you can change the, click here, move this one up so that you see text, image, text, image, text, image. Yeah, I'm coming to the navigation shortly. Now, I come in here, this section, right? I change my my padding to 32, okay? Change it from weeks to view container. I select these ones too, and I want to also set it to view container. Select the text, the accordion, and instead of hog, view container. Select everything here, and then make them view container instead of fixed. View container, view container, view container, view container. Okay? View container. Just imagine. We are done. What else? This particular section. Move this way. And instead of fixed, view container. Okay? And you select these guys. 32. Okay? Select these guys and just enter them. View container. Okay, select these guys, view container. Okay, I think we don't need the 32 at the bottom, it's already there. Now I come in here and basically repeat the same thing, view container, and then select this view container, and I want to also change the direction, and I want to also center it appropriately and change this to 32. Okay, select all this, and I want to make them view container. Okay, that's also the padding. Padding, you want to go ahead and make it maybe 16. Okay, and select this as well, view container. Now I can go ahead and select this particular one now and change it like this and center them. Now you can see how easily we were able to change this from the web to the mobile version without wahala, right? Without much wahala. Then you can now come in here, the header. Yes, usually on mobile, you don't need all those headers. Let's make this header 30 first, 32 as usual. You don't need all these extra wahalas for your header. You don't need all those. Usually on mobile now, you want to switch to hamburger menu. You can just get your hamburger menu. Okay? You can just get your hamburger menu and drop it right there. So, okay, I think this will be a variant. Now okay, this will take us to our next topic. So this is probably going to be a variant, okay? This will be our next topic. Now, anytime you are adding something to an auto frame, it takes the next section, right? But if you want to be able to move that element freely, like this particular one I just added, you can see where it's going to. If I want to move it freely, what I'll do is to activate something called absolute position. So absolute position, basically I'll click it, select it, come to this place here, okay? I'm sure, I don't know if you can see it, but you should. After when you have the X axis, Y axis, the next icon there, absolute position, I click on it. Now once you click on it, you can actually move this one freely. So we'll take a look at absolute position more now, okay? Absolute position helps you move things around freely in an auto frame, okay? You use it for things like notification icons, right? We'll take a look at that shortly. But basically, yeah, this is what you have right here. Now, there is a plugin, but we'll not do that right now. We'll do that when we get to advanced UI design. There is a plugin you can now use to tell the plugin, okay, this should be my mobile version and this should be my desktop version. And obviously, the next version you want to create is your tablet version, okay? You've created those 3 versions, you are done with your design, right? Then you can use that plugin to now indicate this is my desktop version, this is my mobile version, and this is my tablet version. Once you do that, the plugin will give you only one screen. So once it gives you that one screen, right, it's called breakpoint. Basically, the plugin is called breakpoint, but I don't want us to go into breakpoint right now. But once you do that, it's going to give you one design. That's the desktop version. And as you begin to reduce the size of it, the frame, once it gets to that size for tablets, it shows the design you created for tablets. And then once it gets to the size for mobile, it shows the design you created for mobile. Easy peasy. So I don't want you guys to think these things are difficult. We are in 2023, and the curriculum we are using is very, very 2023 like, and also reflects what you can actually do directly in your workplace. We don't want to teach you things you would never use. Okay? So, yeah. So I hope that the person that asked the question, why did we use auto frame? It's not because auto frame bribed us to use it, right? Just that auto frame has features that makes design easier, okay? So especially the layout and everything, you can rearrange. Now let's assume I even come in here and I decide that on mobile I want these phones to show first. It's just to select this phone and use arrow key to move it up. Background, no stress, okay? But if you don't use auto frame, you will have to manually come and start rearranging all these frames manually, okay? So yeah, that's it. Any other question? Okay, Genius Soft. It's better to build from mobile first. Remember the principles of mobile first. Yes, I remember. We remember the principles of mobile first. Yes, I think I was there when that article was sent to that. But let me be honest with you guys. Mobile first is a fallacy. I'm sorry. When you are designing a web app, I beg, or a website, in real life, whenever you are designing a website or a web app, you do your desktop first. Instead, what mobile first is basically trying to encourage is, as you are designing your app, always remember that people are going to access it using mobile phones, okay, even before they use their desktop. So because of that, you should consider making sure that all your core features should be able to be presented properly on mobile, okay? But in real design, you don't design mobile version first before designing desktop, right? Instead, you have to design desktop first, then you start making the mobile version. Genius Soft, sir, as a UI designer, is it our prerogative to choose any of the mobile screen size, or we design on all the screen sizes first? Okay, Genius Soft, this is a very great question. Okay, and we'll take a look at this in when we get to advanced UI design. But I'm just going to give you a tip so that in case you are working on a personal project, you take note of that. Now, anytime you are designing, you are creating a design. Let's say you are creating a mobile design, a mobile phone design. First of all, you have to consider platform. Remember, we talked about platform. Is this app going to be on desktop, on iOS or on something like Android, or is it going to be a hybrid app? These questions are important for you to understand. Most important, once you understand, you pick your frame. You want to, just like what we've been using so far, we used iPhone 14 Pro Max just because we are learning how to use Figma. Okay, but when you want to work on real projects, don't always start with the biggest phone size, because phones have different sizes. Okay, so if you are working on iPhone projects, don't start with the biggest one. Instead, you want to start with the base. So in this case, what I want to go ahead and choose is my iPhone 13 and 14. Okay, iPhone 13 and 14, that's what I want to use. Some people might say, okay, use Pro. I'll tell you why not to use Pro, or why not to use Pro Max. Once you choose your iPhone 13 and 14, okay, now like I said, in the advanced UI class, that's where we begin to look at things like PPI, okay, pixel density, dimensions, and all those things, so that you understand it when designing. Now let me get a frame again, and let me choose iPhone 14 Pro. Let's see what's going on here. And another frame, iPhone 14 Pro Max. Now, when you create your design, okay, whenever you create your design, what happens is that, and I will also introduce you guys better to constraints so you understand. Whenever you design for small screens like the smallest iPhone, if you have this right here, okay, now you can, I'm just giving you an instance. I'm not going in depth with this. If you make this 50 by 50, okay, let's do 100 by 100. When this same 100 by 100, when you take it to this iPhone 14, if someone using iPhone 14 Pro opens it, it's not going to be 100 by 100. It's going to increase a little bit by the difference of the screen size of iPhone 13, the iPhone 14 base model and the Pro version. It's going to likely increase this. And also, once you also bring it here, it's also going to increase a little bit more, okay, just to maintain the size. So when we get to advanced UI design, you understand all these things. And that is why anytime you are trying to export your file, if I hit export, you see this thing here that says 1x, 1.5x, 2x, 3x, 4x. Will explain all these things so that you understand, especially when it comes to handing off to developers. Okay, so everything we are going to learn is how it works in real life. No cherekambia or guesswork here. Nope. Everything we are going to learn is going to be, based on real life. You can take it to the bank and tell them to give you loan that you've finally learned UIUX. Anyway, yeah. So in real life, you always want to start with the base models. Some people start like using the Pro, but never ever design using the Pro Max, especially when you are working on a real life project. But when you are just doing a design for maybe your portfolio, you are just feeling pretty, you can use the iPhone, you can use the Pro Max versions. Okay, so yeah, so principles of mobile first is on the portal. You can go and read about it. Okay, so like I said, mobile first simply means consider putting most of your important features to make sure they work with mobile But in designing, you don't design the mobile first. You don't design the mobile first. But in planning your app, you consider mobile first, okay? You have to consider mobile first because people will likely visit your app on mobile phones, okay? But in designing, you always design the desktop version first. But remember, when it comes to app design no get desktop version, no, especially native apps. There is no mobile version, desktop version, no. So don't come and go and start designing your app on a desktop. Now only you. This only applies to things like web apps or websites. Okay, great. So let me re-explain that auto frame. You're welcome, Jennysoft. Let me re-explain that auto frame. So let's say we have an icon right here. Okay, bell. Okay, now let's say we have an icon right here. Let me zoom in. You probably begin to see the pixel. Let me just increase this, but you know you don't always increase things like this. Let me increase it to ×5. Okay, now let's assume I have this bell icon right here and I want to add that red dot for notification. Okay, then here is my dot and let me go ahead and color it red. Which kind of red be this one? Okay, now let's assume I want to drop this here. What I can do is I want to achieve this. Okay, I want to achieve something like this. But here is the problem. I don't want to group these things. But if I select these two and do Shift A for auto layout. Sorry. If I do Shift A for auto layout, now it's actually Figma is a little bit smarter now. But by default, it's going to do this. Okay, now once it does this, there is no easy way to move this particular thing here because it's an auto layout. Okay, so if you want to be able to move this independent of the auto frame, you have to go ahead and activate absolute position. So all you want to click on is all you want to do is to come in here and click on where it says absolute position. Make sure that element is selected. Then you click on absolute position. Now what absolute position will do is to allow you to move the element around an auto frame easily. So I can now move it and just come here and place it here. Now you can see it is one auto frame, but I was able to play around the positioning of that particular element. So absolute position, very okay. You need it in your life, especially when you are working with auto frame and you need to move things around inside an auto frame. Okay, so if you want it to be independent of the positioning system of the auto frame, then you just go ahead and activate absolute position. Okay, so yeah. Okay, with that out of the way, let's go ahead and take a look at what we have in stock for you today. Now, Vixen design. This is actually a genius idea because I've been seeing a lot of native doctors on TikTok. So it will actually be great if there can be an app for them. Right? The app name is very easy. It's just Baba. Right? Then the advert can be like, having any challenges, spiritual problems, download the Baba app and get your solutions right away. So yes, Vixen design, that could actually be your next case study, right? Create an app that links native doctors to their clients. I'm sure a lot of people will patronize it. Anyway, that's on a softer note. Let's go ahead and take a look at what we have for today. So it's very important. Let's take a look at what we have for today. So for the assignments, okay, please, everything in this curriculum is geared towards helping you secure a job or start your own business, freelance business. So every task, every assignment, please do it. Please do it. Reason being that the way employment works right now is not the way it worked last 5 years, right? Last 5 years. For most of the jobs I get now, they are through previous clients or through adverts or through word of mouth. But in 2023, if you're just starting out in 2023, it's going to be difficult for you to just sit down and say, I want to get these things through referral and word of mouth. It won't work. So everything we've been doing so far is preparing you towards the ultimate aim of this training. Okay, you want to make sure you carry out all those assignments. Now, for these assignments, you've been asked to pick one topic. Pick one topic out of those 10 topics, a topic you are very comfortable in, and you are to write an article on that topic. One of the biggest skills that differentiate different UI UX designers or product designers is communication. In fact, if you want design past the biggest designers in the world, okay, in 2023, if you can't communicate, it will be difficult for you to land any job. The only job you are going to land is looking for job. You know, applying for job is a job, okay? So if you know how to design, you know a lot of things, and you don't know how to communicate, the only job you are going to land, I'm repeating again, if you learn how to design, you learn how to do research, and you don't know how to communicate, the only job you are going to land is applying for job. So that is why we are trying to train you from this stage to start learning how to write. There will still be a class on basically how to write, but we want to see how you write first, okay? And we'll now give you tips and tricks on how to write. So make sure, okay, make sure you write well. And we want to see your perspective. So please, don't just go and carry the topic and put inside Jasper or ChatGPT and say, oh yeah, now what did they give us be this? Give me the answer, make I post. Don't do that. Instead, you can write. If you are not the type that writes well, take your phone, record it, okay? Record what you understand so far, just like a discussion. You can put a pillow in front of you and then try narrating, try telling the pillow, try teaching the pillow some of those topics, or try explaining to the pillow some of those topics while you are recording. And please don't do this thing where people are, before they'll think you've colo, they will now say, Designgate, don't make this one colo. And before you know, you'll be at Yaba. Although your own, they will take you to Yaba left. Yaba right. Okay. So you can just do it in your room. And if you have people around, just tell them, please, I'm trying to study you. It's not like I'm talking to pillow. I'm trying to study. Okay. So you put down the pillow, or put down, for the ladies who have teddy bear, you put down the teddy bear and then try narrating what you've learned so far based on the topic you've chosen. Okay, you try narrating it while recording. Okay, you are recording and you are narrating. The worst thing that can happen to you is after all the narration, you discover that you did not press start on your record button. It only means one thing, that you have to start again. And at that point, your friends will be very convinced that you don't decolo. Okay, but please make sure you press that record button and you narrate it. Now, what you can do, you take that narration, you can put it on an app like Auto. Auto will just transcribe it for you and get all the words out, okay, instead of you sitting down to write it out. So once you've gotten that, you've gotten it, it's now your idea. Not be everybody go the same school. Some of us went to community school, some of us went to different types of schools, okay? You might not always be very good with your grammar. You don't even know if the word is correct. You can now take that transcription into an app like Grammarly. In fact, Grammarly is helping everyone, so don't feel ashamed to use it. Sometimes, even in my chats, I use Grammarly because sometimes you compose a message and it's basically background. Your English is background. So Grammarly will help you and say, calm down, bros, calm down. this is the correction, so use this correction. Then shamelessly and willfully agree and accept the correction so that people don't laugh at you. So you take that, you take it to an app like Grammarly and correct all your backgrounds, and then you post it. And if you even want it elaborate, because it's already your idea, you can also take it to an app like Jasper, okay, or ChatGPT, and tell it to help you just, use this same content and help you make it a little bit professional, to show your enemy shege. Okay? So yeah. So but please, what you should never ever do is to copy those topics and drop it inside ChatGPT and say, Ngwano, give it to me. Don't do that. In fact, when we read it, we are going to know. And you will not get the mark. Okay? And yes, we are going to be blessing. Yes, so we are going to be using Medium to be publishing our posts, okay, our articles. And this is where teamwork starts, okay? Now, over the course of next week, once everyone submits, okay, once everyone submits, it is compulsory for all the students, okay? You have to take out time and visit at least 50 or at least 30 of those links and like, on Medium, you appreciate a post by clapping. So all of us here, all of us taking this course, once everyone have submitted their assignments, the link is going to be shared. Everyone, you are expected to go to Medium and drop a clap for the person, whether you read them or you don't read them. Clap for the person. Clap hand for Jesus. Clap hand for Jesus. You are going to do it on Medium, okay? So that at least when your prospects come across your Medium post, they see that this guy get 50 appreciation. Now wow, this guy is badass. We want him on our team. So the teamwork we are going to be building starts from next week, okay? That's why we've requested for your Twitter, we've requested for your LinkedIn, we requested for your Medium and also your Behance profile. Because everyone here, okay, will have to follow each other. Don't go and form celebrity on Twitter. Yeah, I know they follow people. I get coconut head. No, you have to follow everyone so that everyone follows you back. That's where you begin to build your social media credibility. Like I said, everything is tailored towards getting you hired. This is how hiring works in 2023. Your recruiter is not just looking at your portfolio, they are looking at a lot of things. So it's very important we comply, okay? Yeah, so that's it. So the next thing, let me go to the main cocoa for today. So what are we expecting to do after here? So we've basically, I'm sure everyone here, if I should say something like go to shadow effect on Figma, go to effect on Figma, you should know naturally where that is. If I say go and pick a frame, draw a frame, you should naturally know what to do. If I say type, you should naturally know what to do. If I say we are going to create a textile, you should naturally know what to do. That is basically the essence of this first section of the bootcamp. Rachel Ikile, sir, what if we don't have the Behance account and others? There is we did a class, an article was posted on the platform, okay, where you were introduced to something like effective communication and the rest. And one of the tasks that you were asked to do is to create those accounts. Please, those accounts, they are completely free. If you are submitting, Samuel King, if you are submitting your article link, you will see the place to add all those things, okay? Now, make sure you are going through those articles on the portal. They are very important. And those articles, you were asked to create all these accounts. They are free. They pay. Create them. You can't say you want to be a designer in 2023 and you want to get a job and you don't have these 4 accounts. They are a must for any designer in 2023 going. Okay? They are a must. So please, you need to create them. So from here, we are next week. Anyway, for your information, Monday and Tuesday, no task. No task Monday and Tuesday. Just chill. But the chilling, remember you have assignment though. So do your assignment. And if you have not completed your task, complete your task. Because in part 2 of the assignment, if you notice, the assessment right now is part 1. The part 2, you'll be submitting your Figma link for review. So we'll be reviewing all those things. So if you've not completed your task, please use between now to Tuesday to complete it. Monday, Tuesday, you are resting. If you have completed your task, you are resting. Okay? Refresh your brain. We kickstart again on Wednesday. Right? We start again on Wednesday. So you are resting. If you log into your portal, you are going to see a very nice resting image for you to chill. But no resting for those that have not, unfortunately, for those that have not completed their task. I'm sorry. No resting. Try and complete it. Okay? But even those that will be resting, don't forget your assessments. It's very important. That article is very, very important. Okay? Yeah. And yes, for those of you here, if what you can do, what I would advise you to do, please, immediately you complete all these tasks. Whether you are broken, or you were broken, or you are breaking, please treat yourself to some ice cream, okay, and turkey. If you don't have money for Cold Stone, which is about 3K or 4K, get Chicken Republic own, which is 900 or 1K. If you don't have 1K or 900, look for farm milk and get it for 200 naira or 300 naira. If you still don't have 200 naira or 300 naira, look for chilled pure water to calm down and to reward yourself for completing the first section of this bootcamp. Then prepare yourself for the second section of this bootcamp. That way, your brain will feel happy that you rewarded it for being perseverant. Okay? For persevering. Okay? Sir, what about treating myself to guided access? Can I still pay for that? Yes, you can. You are always welcome to pay for guided access whenever you need. Like I said, the guided access, you just have more personalized learning experience. We'll put you through. You can even schedule appointment to speak with any of the instructors, where you have issues. It's actually very good, and you'll be given resources. Just like I said, things like professional UI kits. By the end of this program, you'll be given professional UI kits. Onyeti Sandra, sponsor us now, Mr. Wills. Yes, I think by the end of this bootcamp, I will show love to some top performing students, right? Yes, so we'll definitely show love to some top performing students. That's aside the giveaway we're already doing. I'll definitely personally show love to some. I already have some students in my radar that I keep checking their work and also their activity on the dashboard, on the platform, on the portal. So yeah, that one day. Okay. So let's go over to what we'll be covering in the next stage of this class, of this bootcamp. Now we are properly going to go into UX design. Okay, and these are some of the core things we are going to be covering. Okay. So, in the next section, these are things we are going to be doing basically. It's 2023. If you are not using AI, you are not smart. You are basically missing out. So, it makes sense for us to integrate AI into this training. So, the first thing we are going to be looking at basically for this training is AI for UX. AI for UX. It's very important you understand this. AI for UX. Yes, AI is basically taking over. AI is basically taking over. So if you don't integrate AI into your process, AI will take your job. I'm sorry. So we are going to be taking a look at AI for UX. Then we'll take a look at user research, UX research. Okay, we'll take a look at UX research. Very, very important. How do you conduct UX research and all those things? What are the different types of UX research that we have? Okay, that's what we'll take a look at right here. Then the next thing we want to do is synthesizing your research. After conducting your research, how do you synthesize your research to learn more or to make an educated decision based on whatever it is you've done? That is what we want to take a look at, okay, on this particular UX research. Let me see. Okay, are we together? Okay, so that's basically what we'll be doing on UX research. I'm trying to okay, I think this is, where is this? Where is my, okay, okay, we are here. So like I said, so we'll take a look at UX research, okay? Under UX research, we'll be taking a look at some core topics, okay? Topics like types of research, primary research, secondary research, generative research, you know. Then we look at AI enhanced user research and things like that. Then we talk about synthesizing your research. Under synthesizing your research, we're going to look at how to actually synthesize your research so that it makes sense and you can get insight into them. We'll take a look at tools like affinity mapping, empathy mapping, creating personas, writing problem statements, you know, presenting your research, and then creating user stories and things like that. Again, these things are not difficult, okay? They are not difficult. If you follow what we are going to teach you, you find out that they are very easy to do. One of the problems most beginners have with UX research is that they try doing UX design without any U in the UX. They are trying to do UX design without any user. So it's very difficult. So you are going to do this, you are going to do it the way it is done in the real world. Okay? Then from there we move to design thinking. Now, design thinking, yeah, when you go to design thinking, we talk about empathy, define ideas, prototype, tests. Okay? We'll talk about all those things. But we'll also take a look at the more realistic part. How many times, if you go to a lot of company, now let me tell you people the truth. You see this empathy, empathize, define, ideate, prototype, test. It now is scam. Okay? It's scam. A lot of businesses don't use this approach the way most learners think use it. Okay? So we are going to tell you what works, what basically works. But you are going to learn design thinking. You are going to understand it. Because it's 2023. Most of what we are going through now is innovation. So there are a lot of leveraging to be done. But we'll definitely take a look at design thinking because it's a very great concept. We'll take a look at design thinking. Then we move over to conducting research. Conducting research, generating your research plan, you know, how to select people to interview, how to also, you know, set up your interview questions so that you don't go and ask the wrong questions, right? So it's very important you frame the right questions. If not, after your interview, you go and build something for another user, for a particular user group. It go shock you. So it's very important. Yes, Bumi, to be honest with you, in a lot of workplaces, a lot of them don't do empathy, define, ideas, prototype. In fact, the most used framework in most offices, in most agencies, are basically design, test, refine. Design, test, refine. Design, test, refine. People that are not doing design, test, refine, some of them do requirements gathering, design, test, refine. So a lot of the time, right? Because if you want to keep doing empathize, oh my God, empathize, what are you building? At the end of the day, your case study now is going to have an e-commerce or an agricultural technology, or you are building something that connects native doctors together. Wetin you wan do wey they never do before. So at most, if you are trying to do something that have been done, maybe you are just trying to refine it, you don't need all these long processes. It's not used in the real world. So I will show you a process that works. For instance, one of the biggest skills you are going to develop is conducting something called a heuristic evaluation and also doing competitive analysis. Okay? One of the biggest skills you are going to learn is heuristic research and also competitive analysis. Very, very important, because in most cases, that is what you do in the real world. In the real world, once you are trying to do something, you do competitive analysis. So if you learn your UX design and you know sabi competitive analysis, oyo. So yes, so we'll also be taking a look at information architecture. Okay, information architecture, but don't let these things bother you. They are nothing. In fact, once you've actually brought out your idea, AI can help you give you information architecture, but you have to also refine it before it will lead you to where you don't know. Then understanding products, we'll be talking about things like product life cycle, so that it's very important as a UX designer, you should understand products to some point. Okay, we'll be talking about things like product life cycles and other different principles related to products. Then we'll take a look at wireframing, rapid wireframings and things like that. Very, very important. You understand wireframing from a different perspective, not the perspective you used to know. Why did you even have to wireframe? Must you wireframe before you do your high fidelity mockups? You understand all these things when we get to that part. Okay? I think where they make us use empathizing is using yes, even in the non-digital product, wetin you wan manufacture. If you want to build another plane, go and carry research, years of research that have been done on plane, and then you design it and test. In fact, you get more insights when you are testing. The most important thing is to know what to do, knowing what to do. Okay, for instance, if you want to know a product to develop, you don't go and start doing user research, empathy. Let me empathize with them. No, instead you do market research. It's from market research you know where the trend is moving to. Then you discover, once you do market research, I'm telling you how it works in real life. You do your market research. Once you do your market research, you know where the money is heading to. Then you look for people that are already in that sphere. Once you see them, you do competitive analysis. See what they have that is working well and what people are complaining about. Okay? Once you see all these things, you now say, you can now do educative guess to what could solve that problem. At this point, you have not employed any user interview or user research, because that's sometimes waste of time and money. Now you've done your market research, you move toward competitive analysis. Then from there you make an educated guess and then create a solution. Now you see you've created a solution. Then you can test it. You do usability testing. From usability testing, you know, oh, okay, this person tells you, I like this, I don't like this. Now you begin to fine tune it. Now once you fine tune it and you get your MVP, bam, you go to the market with your MVP. From your MVP, people will start using the product, and that is actually where the main UX starts. Once you've launched your MVP, you start, as a UX designer, you start working with the marketing department to start learning from user feedbacks. You start learning from user feedbacks, users that are saying, oh, I don't like this should have been this. You people will start learning, and then you start designing and the features based on the user feedback. So this process of development, right, is what you use in the real world. In the real world, a lot of software companies no longer use the waterfall approach when it comes to project management, okay? They don't use that anymore. So we are going to learn about all these things and the approach they use. We'll learn about it, okay? So some of you here might have heard the term. No, Samuel King, the journey is not long. The essence for Designgate is we've simplified it so that, you know, when you are explaining all these things, it looks like it's so long. But Designgate is simplifying all these things, removing all the jargons you don't need, and giving you the core skills that you need. That is just what Designgate is. That's the difference between Designgate and other boot camps. There are some jargons. Right now, what you need is to learn this thing and get a job. There are some certain things you really don't need. But the ones you need to get a job, that is what you'll be learning, okay? If you are getting a job, you need to know, as a UX designer, market research, competitive analysis, heuristics. You need to know those things. They are the most important thing. Empathy and the rest. Empathy is not natural thing. Empathy, in fact, use yourself. Pity yourself. That's empathy. Pity yourself. You understand empathy. Then after that, we'll go to the business of UX business strategy, okay? Where we talk about gathering requirements, understanding your success criteria, okay? Understanding your success criteria. So, yeah. So Bumi, all these are what leads to the designing on Figma. Exactly. Now, why did we learn how to use Figma to some point first? Because we want you to be able to at least design something. If you have an idea, right, you should be able to design something. Now, most boot camps will start with UX design. We'll start with research. We'll start with design thinking. The problem with that is when you start with all this UX research and design thinking, if you have an idea, how would you want to implement it? By the time you now get to their design section, you don't forget what you learn for design thinking. In fact, you go from design thinking to thinking about the design. So that's why the approach we've used, if you guys can follow through, you would be an absolute success. I can assure you that, okay? Putting this curriculum together, we had to make sure it matches the current reality of things. So yeah, we are going to officially be doing UX design. But one other thing, it's not for the weak. And I know nobody is weak here. Because on Wednesday, we are also officially launching our 30 days UI challenge. So the way the structure of the class is going to be from Wednesday, you have your lesson on UX, you have your UX task, and also you have your challenge. Your 30 days UI challenge is starting. So there are different stages of the UI challenge, okay? We have 4 stages. The first stage, we are telling you how to do everything. The second stage, we will show you what to do. The third stage, you will do something. The fourth stage, you will come up with something. Clap hands for Jesus. So these are the different stages we'll be doing. So brace yourself. It's not going to be easy. but it's going to be worth it. By the time you look back at your skill set from last 2 months, you will be happy with what you would have, achieved. So please, if you have not done your what is it called? If you have not created your social media handles, please do so, because once we start submitting tasks, you are always going to be posting those tasks on different social platforms, and you'll be instructed on how to post and how to write some certain things that will get people talking about your design. These are skills you really need. So we've basically come to the end of today's live session. I hope it was interactive enough. I hope you learned something. And I'm only seeing 13 likes here. Why are you people not liking this live? I offend you now. You people should like the live. So if you have any questions, you can ask now. Vixen Design, we are physically and spiritually fit, but financially it's on God. Exactly. So the most important thing is that you are physically and spiritually fit. Once you are able to complete this course, the financial part will take care of itself. Okay? So you can't be a designer and be broke. Designer and broke don't work in the same category. Okay? So if you are a designer and you are still broke, you need to attend Designgate. Sir, is the UI challenge open for both free and paid version? Yes, it's open for everyone. Like I told you guys, the paid version is completely if you have the money. This course have been duly paid for by our sponsors. The guided assistance, if you have the money and you would want one-on-one conversations, maybe you have issues, you want one-on-one conversation, or you want access to all these resources, some of these premium resources that we are going to give out, okay, you subscribe to guided access. But if you don't have money, you are not going to miss out on a lot of things. You are not going to miss out on any. When it comes to the training itself, you are not missing out on anything. You'll be doing everything, okay? Yeah. Yes, the Twitter you've been avoiding have finally caught up with you. Yes, we are also going to show you how to use Twitter in order not to have depression. Yes, you'll be taught on how to use Twitter to avoid depression and oppression before you go and be thinking about your life. So we'll show you how to use Twitter to avoid depression and oppression. Yes. So we got you. Personally, I also don't use a lot of social media, right? But I'm lucky enough, I started designing when the market was not yet saturated. But my case is definitely going to be different from your case. If you are trying to get into design in 2023, you and social media must marry each other, because networking is the major thing you need, okay? Any other question? So we are almost in the last lap. So any other question? So if you have any question, ask them. If you don't have any question, in the next 5 minutes, if I don't see any question, then we'll call it a day and a wrap. So drop your questions if you have them. Yes, so all these social media, LinkedIn, Twitter, we are going to show you how to use them to avoid depression and oppression. Okay? Yeah, especially, LinkedIn, when you've eventually discovered that your job is now applying for job, and then LinkedIn will have mind to send you notification that someone in your circle have been employed. Go and congratulate the person. Meanwhile, you that have sent 10,000 applications, you never see job. Right? That is where witchcraft starts. But we'll show you how to navigate, okay? We'll show you how to navigate all those platforms. So, yes. The full name of our sponsor is Terra Skills. Terra Skills Learning System. So, Terra Skills. If you do a quick search for Terra Skills, you will see them. So, they are our sponsors. And also the GES Foundation. the GES Foundation, that is Graduate Entrepreneurship Skill. Definitely. You must have individual projects now. So if you notice, the whole training is 3 months. After 3 months, you have 1 month to develop your portfolio. Right? You have 1 month to develop your portfolio, and every tool you need to develop your portfolio will be covered in these 3 months. Okay? Yeah. Can I submit my previous tasks? Yeah, do them, because next week you are going to be submitting your Figma file. That is when we'll be marking it. So if you have not completed all your tasks, please complete them. Yes, it's recorded. You can always come back and watch it. But since you are here already, that's Kunle. If you have questions, you can ask. Sorry, Omoni, what's your question? Please ask it again. I think I missed your question. Abimbola Omoni, please drop your question again. Omoni, drop your question. I just answered. John, the name of our sponsor is Terra Skills. Terra Skills. You can Google them. Terra Skills. Okay. Adeinka, where is the link to the assignment to write article? Check your Google Classroom. Check Google Classroom. Okay. If you are not on Google Classroom, log into the portal. If you log into the portal, you will see the link to Google Classroom. Click on it, join the class, and you see the assignments. Omoni, okay, so I want to know how much of AI will be taught in this bootcamp. As much as you need for a UX UI designer. So as much as you need for a UI UX designer. Okay. You're welcome, Mr. Sunday. You're welcome. Any other question? We should call it a day. Any other question? We just have 2 minutes more. So 2 minutes more. If I don't get any other question, then we'll call it a day. Don't forget to rest. Rest. Like I said, Monday we are resting, except for those that have not completed their task. Tuesday we are also resting, except for those that have not still completed their task. Okay. Then Wednesday we hit the ground running again. So please, if you have not completed your task, take these 2 days to complete your task. Okay, it's very important. It's very, very important. If you have questions, always drop them in the Telegram channel. Someone will definitely help you out. Okay, and please, for those of us that have been on the Telegram channel, like Russian spy, you are not contributing, you are not asking questions, you are not answering questions, you will not get any job anywhere. So if you don't start building this community and networking now, no job will not come and look for you in your house. Some of you from that group are going to forge partnerships, right, that are going to accumulate into something very great and positive. Okay, so please interact as much as possible. Ask questions when you have them. In fact, if you know something, like from next week now, if you know something and you want to share, you are open to share, because we are the forum will also be launching on the website very soon. Okay. Yes, there is no resting for the assessment. So the assessment you have up from now up till Wednesday to submit it. Okay, from now till Wednesday to submit that assessment. So please make sure you write it. Don't come and write 10 words and say that is how you see it. Please, it should not be less than 300 words. Okay, except you choose a topic that no matter what it will not. But 300 words is just like a page on Microsoft Word using font size 12. Okay, so that's the least you should do. And please, like I said, we want to read your thoughts. We want to read your thoughts. Okay. You are welcome, Jennysoft. You're welcome. So no other questions. So I'm just going to go ahead and call it a day. Thank you for attending as usual, as always, and see you guys next week. Bye bye. This is my best live